Hello and welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation January development update. It's our first stream of the year. We hope
It's
that everyone
January.
is safe and well. I know, isn't that crazy?
That is very crazy. I was just talking with you the other day actually about um, how it feels so long since we've had a live stream.
Yes, it has been. Well, it's because the months. So we have like a little bit of a situation whenever it's December and November, it's like everything's so fast and they're back to back. And then when it gets around the time for January, everything feels super long because
I
we
know.
we don't have our
I
stream
know.
for a little
I
while.
was missing our live stream. It was making me sad. I went like
Aw.
the week beyond the normal cadence for me, and I was just like, something feels off.
Well, now you're back and everyone gets
Yay.
to see our faces,
I'm
but that's not
sorry.
why you're here. You
I know.
you want to see the tank. You want to see some tanking and some spanking, so we'll definitely be showing
Yes.
you some of that.
We'd like to
Um,
thank everyone actually for tuning in.
I had that
We're
for the outro. You stole it.
Oh no.
I actually said it in the chat. I was like, "Thanks for joining us." But of
Nice.
course, as a reminder, like we're here again. I'm Margaret Crone. I'm your director of communications. I got a title upgrade,
Woo!
achievement unlocked. And then, of course, with me, as always, is Stephen Sharif, our creative director. Um, I hope you're doing well. You've
I'm
missed
doing
everybody. They've
well.
missed you.
I know. Yeah, I've been doing great. It's been a crazy month actually. We've gotten a lot, this has probably been our most productive January I think we've ever had as a company.
It a lot has happened, a lot.
I
And for me
know.
especially, I'm just like,
Uh,
it's a
yeah,
lot.
usually sometimes for studios it can take a week to get back in the saddle again, but I feel like we hit the ground running
Day
January
one was
3rd.
like, let's go.
Yes.
But I think everyone was refreshed. We got a lot of cool stuff to show off. And of course, we're working on a lot of stuff that you're not going to see today, too. But you'll be seeing in the future. And we'll give a little teasers of some stuff that's coming up. But of course, to remind you of what you're going to see today, we are going to go through some quick reminders. They're super quick. And then we have our tank update. We'll get right into it. We know that's why you're here. And then we have our character art and studio update and questions and answers. And look at this overlay. Mike Vecchio bringing it in.
Oh,
Um,
some new overlays for the
yeah,
new year.
it's getting, a little Ashes of Creation fantasy vibes. We hope that you like it. Let us know
Yeah.
what you think. We always try to take the new year, at least my team, we do like a refresher. So you'll see a lot of cool new assets coming down the line for all of our social stuff. And I know they're working on some fun things. So stay tuned on that front. But with that, we're going to go over our comment spotlight, which I think I need to grab from the thingamabob quick. Let us see. Go over here. We have our cosmetic swap over that's happening. So I'll just remind you guys that the Featherstone Royal Expedition goodies are available. They will be swapping over soon. So if you would like them, make sure that you get them before 11 a.m. Pacific on February 8th. And those ones I got to design, which was really cool. Reminder that these are kind of NPCs that you'll see in the world, creatures that you'll see in the world. They are, tied with the lore that we have going on, which is pretty exciting. And of course, we had our comment spotlight, which I'm going to swap over to. If you would like to be our comment spotlight, you can head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and leave a comment on this development update. So it's going to be January development update, the one that's titled that, which will go live on Saturday. But our question here, well, it's not, it's a comment plus question. I have been wondering how you will capture the storytelling from a casual point of view. A lot of the times where people reflect on what has happened in the MMO is by watching trailers. Arguably, in this person's opinion, one of, if not the best trailers out there is the Star Wars The Old Republic one, where they spend tons of money on capturing an audience through some phenomenal trailers. Are you looking to do the same, or what kind of trailers can we expect from the Ashes of Creation? And this is from
Ooh.
Actually Epod, which, yeah, I have
Yeah,
thoughts on this, but I'll leave it to you first, Stephen.
well, SOTOR I thought did a great trailer and story and voiceovers. I thought all that was great with SOTOR. You know, we're an independent studio. And
Yeah. We'll start there.
with, yeah, well, let's start there. With that being said, there are certain budgetary requirements in order to afford very, high-end cinematics and voice actors
Probably not getting
and
a blur trailer if that's what you're
right,
asking.
exactly. And what that means is how we want to implement on that front is really going to be in engine, in game, how we capture those scenes, how we capture those elements of story. And the good thing is that from a lore, narrative, and questing perspective, we have some functionality and tools that we're going to be utilizing to help tell the story from the player's perspective, because so much of the story is derived from player action, from community engagement, from the social interactions and decisions made along these different story arcs that can occur. And each server is different. So not, spending that amount of money or that amount of resources on creating these bespoke, very well done trailers, we would have to create a lot to kind of show how certain story arcs, what the outcome looks like in completing those things, because there's a lot of different ways these story arcs can end depending on what the players do. So we're going to leverage tech that captures kind of at the moment when something server first is done in the story arc, and those will be recorded on these memory fragments that players can collect within the game through their experiences and relive potentially through the cinematic that would be in game recorded, how an event went down, how a boss was killed, how a story arc ended, and they can collect those things throughout that server's life and history, which I think is a really cool way to tell the story of the server, the history of the server. I think that's super cool, and that's kind of how we're going to acquire it. It's really going to be meant to portray in game, and also based on what the players did. Margaret, I
And
don't
so
know if you have
that's
thoughts
more
on that.
like in-game cinematics.
Right.
In regards to trailers and things of that sort, we will definitely be making, trailers. If you saw it for Alpha 1, we made a trailer. We'll definitely be making some fun videos for Alpha 2 and Beta 1 and Beta 2. And of course, our launch is going to be a big deal for us. We will be doing lots of video snippets and goodies that we will be sharing and showcasing. So we'll definitely
Yes.
have trailers. They might not be, blur level trailers, but we will do our best to make some really sick stuff that gets people hyped.
Yes.
And we'll probably, from a marketing perspective, advertise in some spaces in order to get people excited about certain content pieces and advertise those to the right audiences. So we will definitely we're saving our marketing budget for the right spaces, for the right
Right.
places. We'll be doing a lot of content creator stuff. As you all know, we do have a content creator program that is open. It's currently in application phase. We will let you know when it switches to invitation phase, which will probably be closer to Alpha 2, because you kind of you need content to be able to make content. So
Yes.
um, for us from our perspective, it makes most sense for that to timeline match up versus, like having a bunch of content creators who are, working with us, but they don't have content to share.
Yeah, and we
Um,
have a
yeah.
pretty good budget that's been allocated for marketing
Yes.
trailers
Steven's
and
given me
marketing
budget.
endeavors. We haven't even utilized any budget towards
No.
marketing thus far, and we've, from a project's perspective, obviously we've garnered a lot of attention because we have this transparent process of development where we keep you guys updated on a monthly basis. But as we grow closer to testing, events, and launch, where those marketing dollars get a good return on ad spend, that's when we deploy those things. And I think you're going to be seeing, just through the production quality that you see that Margaret and her team provide on the monthly cadence with our development updates, that is going to be met same course on the marketing side.
Oh, for sure. Like
Yeah.
we'll be doing very cool things and obviously for us, launch is going to be really exciting, especially for my team, because that's when community and customer service and, GMs and things of that sort get to have a little bit more fun, because we get to interact with you guys. And we also get to utilize things that you're doing in game, like Steven was talking about, those big moments
Yes.
on servers where we get to interact with them. Or maybe we'll have like a news live
Yes.
stream where we work with different people from all the different
Yes.
servers to bring us information. Like we're
Now
going to
we're
do a
talking.
lot of cool, fun things. Guild programs is something that we've talked about in the past too, which is, we want to bring guilds together and we want information from them. And if you've seen stuff that I've done at previous companies in regards to that, you'll know that I'm a big fan of that stuff. So
Yes.
we will have a lot of fun. Don't you worry. And when it comes to trailers and videos, we will have plenty of them. Right now, it doesn't make sense for us to make a ton of videos because, we're in development. We want to make sure that we're not making too much content where we have to keep up with stuff that doesn't make sense while we're, heads down
Especially
trying
when
to
those
make
things can
the game.
change. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
exactly. And I know a lot of people have asked, like, oh, can you make a video that's like, what is Ashes of Creation? Well, we need to make that game first so that we can make
Yes.
that video. But
And we need to
yes,
go through the iterative testing loops, which is where the game can really change, right?
yeah.
That's the very most important part is, we have well-defined systems and features that we've built thus far, but really how those features survive and in the way they survive comes after the testing environment. And that testing environment is most applicable with a live audience. So, our efforts, our endeavors are always to work towards that next live audience testing, which of course is Alpha 2, that we've made some significant
Well, we'll
progress
have some
towards.
pre-alpha 2 testing too that we're
Yes,
going to do
yes,
to make
yes,
sure that
yes.
we're ready to open the floodgates because alpha 2 is a
Absolutely.
lot of players,
Always. Yes.
whereas alpha 1 was, I mean, it's a good amount of players, alpha 1 was, but we want to kind of make sure that
I I think
we're
our Alpha
ready.
2 has over 100,000 people that have purchased into it, so it's a pretty significant testing event.
Yeah,
And
we were
and
originally going
obviously that explodes.
30,000
I know.
and now it's
Obviously that explodes when we get closer to Alpha 2 testing. But yes, so
yeah.
a lot to be said there. But I know people are waiting, want to
I
see this
know.
tank thing.
Yes. So let's
Yeah.
go ahead and switch over. That's where we're at next. We're just trying to answer that question for you guys. So thank you so much. And with that, we'll swap over to the tank goodness. So, Stephen, let's do a little prefacing before people
Yes.
watch this hour
I
long
I
video.
I apologize. I know, I'm sorry. So everyone is always aware of this if you tune in, but you have to be partly the messenger for us with the broader audience that isn't as engaged. That is a responsibility of not just us, but also you guys as our loyal, loving, amazing, beautiful, glorious followers who are waiting for this product to sit in your hands. It's helpful if you guys comment that this is a work in progress. Art is a work in progress. Design is a work in progress. All of this stuff is meant to kind of show that progress towards the end goal, which is delivering this. So keep that in mind. That's a rapport that we've established with the community I feel really comfortable with. And because of that, you are going to see in this recording, I had to use a few GM cheats. I apologize.
Tell us what you did, Stephen. What did you do?
I had to use some GM cheats specifically because there was a particular item that I needed to get that we died a few times when we shouldn't have. There was too many creeps that we pulled. We were undermanned in an area that was designed for 8-man groups. So, there's just stuff that happens. And I just want to give you that up front that there's a little bit of GM cheating. If you see that, please take it with a grain of salt. We feel comfortable sharing that stuff with you. This isn't marketing oriented. This is development oriented. So you guys are getting to see development in its raw format. It is what it is. So with that being said, you're going to see the tank archetype. It's important to remember the tank archetype. This is, I think it's level 12 or level 13. There's, a few abilities that we're going to be going over. The biggest thing to take away here is November, we showed you a cleric live stream. There were 3 big points of feedback from the community with regards to the cleric live stream that related to combat. That was hit animation reactions from the NPCs when they're being attacked. It was hit visual effects on impact from a weapon when that weapon contacts and making it feel substantive, making it visually apparent that you've made contact with the enemy. And the last was going to be the animations and the root motions around the mace combat. Now, Brian Ferguson did a lot of work on fine-tuning up that mace combat. I think it looks great. We took a lot of that feedback. We
A
did
lot of
that
people
work
said
there.
that feels good when they're playing
Oh,
it. So,
it feels very connective. And then Jim, Matt, and John did a lot of work on the hit impact VFX with Adam and Keenan supporting on the directionality of those hit impacts. And then in addition, with the animation team, Brad Constantine providing some significant adaptation to the hit reactions on the animation side with these particular creatures that you're going to see improvements on. Where your point of feedback is most applicable is on those three things. But in addition, talking about the role, the functionality of the abilities, you're going to see, what about the tank have you enjoyed in previous games, that particular role, and what do you like what you see here? There's some cool tech you're going to see involved in this. You're going to see some wind force actors that get applied to abilities when dealing with the surrounding foliage. I think that's super cool. It really is immersive, and of course
Lawnmower
adds
build.
yeah, lawnmower build. How do you mow that grass down with some explosions and stuff? It's super cool. Speaking of lawnmowers, I haven't heard your lawnmower in the background yet.
It happened in the morning.
Oh,
Because
look at that.
They always do it every other Friday.
We've made it. We've made it. You're going to see some active blocking as well. Now, I know in the past we've talked a little bit about how active blocking as a mechanic might leverage a separate energy mechanic called stamina. We haven't yet really nailed that down yet, if we're going to go that route, or if we're going to have active blocking consume mana based on additional mitigated damage. And if it does consume mana, and that's across all classes, some classes will have the ability to spec into passive skill trees that might reduce the cost of that mana down to very, very small when active blocking. So it's geared towards certain types of archetypes. So with that being said, you are going to, one other thing, audio levels might be a little high with combat and voices. That's an issue we're going to have fixed the next time we do some development live streams by separating out the audio.
We got some new equipment for Steven, so
yeah,
it'll make it so my team can edit a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
Because right now it's like the audio and the gameplay are mixed together, so we can't really edit that as easy.
Yeah, so just be aware of that. But without further ado, we would like to show you the first look at the Alpha 2 tank work in progress archetype. Enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Ashes of Creation update. Today, we are going to be sharing with you a preview of the Alpha 2 tank archetype. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind as you're watching this preview that everything is still subject to change, especially considering that the Alpha 2 is going to give us a lot of feedback, both from the players as well as data-driven, that we're going to utilize in order to improve the design features. But your feedback from this video is very important. And I am joined today by three of our absolute glorious developers. One of our engineers with whom you've spoken with in the past. Keenan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Welcome back again. We are here at it again. For those of you who watched, by the way, on the live stream, you saw a previous iteration of this recording. We're doing a little bit of re-recording because there were some audio issues. And also, I just wanted to give a little bit more in-depth detail around the specific abilities, the area that we're fighting in, and the encounter design. But also, we have with us two of our glorious senior designers, Brian and Trad. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Yep, let's do it again. We got a lot of practice on this by now.
Yes, let's do it again. And this
Warmed
time,
up.
you know what we're going to do? We are going to perform flawlessly. There's not going to be any edits here. We're not going to use some GM powers. We better do this good.
I'm not taking the heat for this.
I know. Okay, so before we get started, first, let's talk about the area that we're in. This is the Riverlands. As many of you know, the Riverlands is one of the predominant areas in Alpha 2 that players will be exploring. This was home to the once ancient Aelan Empire, a human race nation that was formed at the apex of Vera before the fall. And we are here to collect some gear. I believe that I am looking for the remaining pieces of the Titan Bark set. Is that right, Brian?
Yes.
Awesome.
And also there's a weapon and the shield available for you.
Ooh, okay, so the weapon and the shield are going to show us a little bit of the iteration that you've been working on since our last live stream with the cleric update, specifically around the attack animations and root motion for the mace and shield. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it not just me, but also the glorious animators and
Yes.
FX artists, Meadow and Myers on the animation side have been a pleasure to work with on this iteration over the past month. We all knew that the base was in a kind of rough first state in the Cleric live stream, but took another look at it, and we focused more on pose holds and quick transitions and an overall satisfying cadence.
Yes.
And I think the end result is pretty good, and it matches with the greatsword. It's in kind of the same universe, and I think we're starting to find our rhythm with weapon creation, and it should be pretty straightforward from here.
Absolutely, and a lot of that feedback from the community was with regards to the animation hit reactions from the enemy NPCs, as well as the hit effects on weapon impact to make it feel a little bit more substantive and connective, which I think the VFX team and the animation team has done great jobs on both of those fronts. And then let me talk a little bit about the setting. So in the Riverlands here, what our objectives are, you'll see a little bit of update here on the UI. So we're taking a look at our new quest journal. The area that we're going to be heading towards is called the Oakenbane Keep. And the Oakenbane Keep is once military academy before the fall of the Aelan Empire during the Exodus. And it was used to kind of train up recruits, but now those recruits and perhaps some of their teachers might be haunting that location, and we need to take care of them and dispatch them with haste. You'll see some of the updates on the itemization and the inventory here with some of the tooltips and icons, and also you'll see a little bit of the update to the world map, which is still a work in progress. Everything you're going to see here, as I said, is a work in progress that is deserving of your attention and feedback so that we can make more iterations and of course make it better. So with that being said, let's do a quick kind of run through of the abilities. I don't want to get necessarily engaged with any enemies, so I'm just going to kind of use the abilities without an enemy kind of in my targeting. Let's talk about this first one. We have a shield assault. Now, does this require a shield in order to use?
I would hope so, hence the name.
Yes, absolutely. Now, of course, I have the ability because of the GM cheats a little bit to use that ability without the shield, but I'm not going to for the purposes of this demonstration. But tell me a little bit about the shield assault. What is its intent as an ability, guys?
Yeah. So it's got a few things going on with it. I would say the primary intent of it is that it is how you engage an encounter. It's got a bit of mobility. It's not like a super far charge like that carries you across the screen or anything, but yeah, there you go. But it's basically a way to engage with the enemy, get some damage out, and also grab some threat. It applies a pretty good chunk of threat in a small area in front of you, so it's really good at grabbing snap threat on like some high priority target.
And it looks like that this has a variable distance that's traveled. So essentially, like if I have a target that's directly in front of me right now, it's not predicated on having an actual target, but it is a templated attack. And if that target is immediately in front of me, then the distance traveled will be shorter. Is that correct?
Exactly. And you'll see some of that when we're actually in action. Right now, you're seeing the full distance. It's, again, a pretty short range mobility skill, but yeah, you can also just use it point blank on something and it's not going to make you overshoot the target and then you have to like reposition, because that can be kind of annoying with some of those skill types.
Awesome. And you said that this generates threat, but I see we have a second ability as well called Inciting Strikes. And if I use that ability, that's a forward cone AoE attack that generates additional threat and damage on targets impacted. Is that correct?
Exactly. That one's a bit more effective at AoE threat, so it's got a bit of a wider hitbox, good for grabbing multiple targets and cleaving them all. So that'll be what you'll be using if like there's a pack of stuff on us and you want to just get them all off of us. But not quite as much threat as the shield assault for one target. So each of them kind of has their utility there for aggro.
Awesome. Now, obviously, as part of our kit design, we want to encourage synergies, especially within inner kit synergy, but also with the party. And I see that we have two abilities, specifically Shield Assault as well as Tremoring Bellow. And Tremoring Bellow applies a status condition that can be promoted if there is an existing status condition on the target. So it looks like I can create the shaken condition, and then I can trip shaken targets with the tremoring bellow. Is that correct?
It's actually a snare. So
it.
if you use that on a snared target, so there's two components to that ability. It's got a shout component, which is a forward cone, and then it's all as you can kind of see there, that shock wave that flew out, and it kind of extends past the second element of that, which is a PBOE around Steven. If you use that ability again, you'll see kind of like the ground kick up, and that's like the earthquake element of it, and that does damage, and that does what Stephen was alluding to, where if your target is snared, then it will knock enemies down, which is our trip effect. Awesome. And one thing I forgot to mention on the shield assault abilities, it does apply a snare, so you've got a little bit of insert hit synergy going on there. It's a pretty satisfying combo to like charge in and then knock them down with the stop.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then also after that, we have another ability. Brian, talk to me a little bit about Grit and its purpose.
Yeah, Grit is some of your bread and butter mitigation skills as a tank. So if you're really getting some heat, you'll want to pop that. And if you haven't had it on for a bit, you're going to be generating stacks of courage. And the more stacks of courage you have, that'll give you increased damage mitigation for a certain number of hits.
And I noticed that I'm slowed when I used Grit, so really it's a very situational ability usage, depending on what type of situation you find yourself in. Also, this can be activated mid-swing in another ability, right?
Yep. The way I always refer to this ability is you can think of it kind of like an off GCD ability, where you can use it even though you have another ability activating, so that it's really responsive and can be popped in like an emergency. You don't have to wait for that animation to complete or for that global cooldown to finish. You just pop it in instantly. It applies on and off, and it's a toggled ability, so you can kind of turn it on and off at your disclosure.
Nice, very cool. And I see this Aegis is causing essentially a area of effect that our party members can live within, and if they do, I'm absorbing a portion of their damage taken pre-mitigation. Is that correct as well, Keenan?
Yeah, that's right. It forks some percentage of the incoming hit and applies it to your mitigation, not the party members.
Nice, very cool. Very cool. All right, well, this kind of gives you guys a comprehensive overview. I'm sorry, in addition to that, we have a grapple, but that will require a target. And the grapple is missing some of the effects, as I said, work in progress, but we can still use it in order to kind of do certain types of engagements. So with that quick kind of demonstration of these abilities, let's see what we can do to acquire that Mason Shield, and also to test our capabilities as a party. How cohesive can we be? So I would ask, given that we're low level, and just so you guys are aware, because we're lower level, we're about level 15, our access to our class kit is a bit limited, as you would expect. You want to have that ramp and kind of class progression. And as a result, I'm going to ask, because we have such strong DPS users here in the fighter and in the ranger, that you give me a moment with the larger monsters to establish kind of a bit of threat. But let me pull this guy to us.
Does not compute.
Does not compute. Nice. Oh yeah, okay. It's feeling good. I love the little stream, the ambient sound effects that Kat has done. It really gets,
yeah, the stream's really nice.
It makes me need to go to the bathroom. No, I'm just kidding.
AFK, BRB.
There we go. Got that knockdown. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, now as you guys will see, these guys are relatively easy to dispatch. You probably saw them in our Ranger Showcase. These are some of the Minotaurs that are out in the early parts of this Riverland area. We're trying to reach the Oakenbane Keep. That is the location of our goodies, and the quests that we have, they deserved better. Probably referring to the people that died there, which is really sad to think about. Oh my god. Got him!
Did you pull that rain collar in? That works
Just
too.
smash its face. Easy peasy. What do we got up here? Looks like a destroyed boat. What was a boat even doing here in the first place?
Could have been a big flood.
Probably.
Maybe we're in a drought.
Mode. Nice. I love the effects on the staff and their little bubble shield.
Yeah, these Minotaurs are awesome looking.
Yeah, they are. I like their size, just the general size. All right, looks like we got somebody over here to the right. Let me see if I can pull that guy as well.
And these are more seriously tuned for...
All right, get behind me. Yeah, these guys are more tuned towards that group. Now, this is intended for a full group. Of course, we are a party of 4. I am losing a bit of aggro on this guy. There we go, got him back. Let's knock him down to the ground. Need a little bit more deeps. Let's see. I could probably avoid that other guy over there. Let me grab this Echo.
Oh, he's coming toward us. Aggro.
Uh-oh. All right.
Got him both. We're good.
Good. Here we have this other one. I'm going to activate some shield for us.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm coming down.
No, Amanda.
Oh, whoa. No.
Flawless.
I'm back up. It's okay. It's okay. As long as the party... Oh, and the party died. Okay. Let me see here. We are okay. Let's get our... Oh, where did you guys go?
We're kiting. I think they're
Oh.
leashing now.
Okay, let's let them leash. I see 4GM Ferguson is here. Maybe we can get him up. Let's just avoid the guys to the right real quick.
Yeah, I think he patrolled over as you were moving up there.
Alright, I'm gonna come
Oh, there's
back.
one up there, too.
Let's pull him back here. Let's pull him back. Alright, go for it. Alright, I got the boss, just the boss. Alright. Okay, we got just the boss, so we should be good.
He's on me.
Knocking him down. Oh, we need to keen him some heals.
He's out of range.
I like the, I feel like this is pretty strong damage mitigation from the grip.
Yeah, especially if you've built up a bit of courage beforehand. Doing okay on mana.
Alright. Get them down, almost. This guy should have a mace for me, right?
Yep.
Ooh, he's got the Hammer of Corin. Okay. Looks like it has some physical penetration. Of course, these stats you'll see here are not the final stat. I don't want to quite reveal that just yet. But let me see if I can... Ooh, okay. So, in the group loot, obviously, there's a lot of functionality here that parties have the ability to customize. There can be loot master, there can be round robin, there can be need, greed, pass. That's applied on a per rarity basis, depending on the party's choices. Some materials, and now I should have the ability to use... So the Lorica Vindicta shield, that's not the shield I'm looking for. I'm trying to get a tower shield. But in the meantime, I can use this shield, which works, I think. But it's not going to be as good as the tower shield. But it'll help. So now let me see what happens when I use my shield rush with this. Nice. Ooh, that felt good. Very cool. Stay on me, little Echo. Little baby Echo. Hey, look at that. We're not too bad here. So talk to me a little bit about kind of some of the differences that we had between the tank archetype in Alpha 1 and the tank archetype that we will be having in Alpha 2.
Yeah, I could speak to that a bit. So for those of you that were part of Alpha 1, or have seen some of that footage, you might have noticed that the tank felt very much more like an offensive melee type. Something you'd almost expect more from the fighter. And part of that is because we didn't really have any other archetypes at that time to fill that role. So you're going to notice a lot more defense and control and threat mechanics on this version of the tank that you didn't necessarily see as much of prior. So as we've kind of already gone over a lot of the ability mechanics, you probably already noticed that you've got a lot more reliable mechanics that you can use pretty frequently to defend your party and also defend yourself.
And what is the type of tank role we're looking to achieve with this particular class fantasy, this class kit that we have?
I would say Ashes of Creation tank will be a pretty classic one, one that tank players are familiar with, and I think that's what people want. We don't need to necessarily redefine what the tank is, but I think we can improve it. There's some things that obviously you'll have your expected mechanics like threat management and generation, mitigation, control, battlefield control, CC effects, but then we'd also like to see more direct ways of protecting your party members too, exploring just like Aegis. That's just to be scratching the surface of that kind of thing, but being able to actually actively take damage for your allies that isn't just manipulating the AI. Because another thing about tanks that I think a lot of people deal with other games is they're pretty bad in PvP. Like when threat is removed from the equation, what am I doing as a tank when players just ignore me? And so we want to offer more direct mechanics that force even players or encourage players to attack the tank to make it so that the tank can't protect their allies against you.
Yeah, I think traditionally I like playing a combination of tank healer. I've also played, of course, mages and whatnot, DPSs. But I like the role of kind of the control aspect, the mitigation, the kind of protective nature, the ability to kind of rout enemies in a fashion that is most conducive to the engagement of the encounter. That's what I really like here. So, as you can see, we're making good progress here. A lot better than the first round. Let's see. Once we get up here, I want to showcase a little bit of the wind actors on this grass that you guys kind of see around us. See, these guys are pieces of cake. We're doing better.
In small numbers.
In small numbers,
Yeah,
that's true.
we're gonna have some challenge ahead of us because this is a very dense area of these enemies, and if we're not careful with our positioning, we could end up with a big fight on our hands.
Agreed. Alright, come over here, buddy boy. Yeah, what you got? Come on over. See, sometimes when I like to play from a showcase perspective, I do so in the realm of like a new player, persona-wise.
Of course.
Of course. I see I'm ticking for 50. I don't know what that ticking for 50 is.
Sit for mana if y'all need it.
Yeah, let's
It was,
sit here.
I think, communal restoration or something applies a hot.
Oh, yeah. Let me sit down.
No, that's cleansing.
Oh, you're right, cleansing wave.
Take a seat and get some restorative mana. So you guys are going to see here ahead of us, this is a pretty grassy area. It's a beautiful area. I'm liking it. But I want to showcase a little bit of how abilities interact with the grass and with the foliage. So you'll remember that we have that kind of forward shout, and watch what happens when I use it here. Boom! Oh, it's like a heart shape. It's like a heart shape little AoE of anger and malice.
I think that's a really cool touch of just like visual tech that a lot of games haven't really explored.
Absolutely.
Makes you feel like grounded in the world.
Yeah, I agree. It's very immersive. I would like to kind of move in this direction. Guys, kind of, if you want to stay close to me. All right, we'll see what we can accomplish here in moving over this way. And I'm going to grab this guy over here. Sit down. All right, good. Let me know if you see any targets moving towards us. Let me know. And we'll maybe approach this. Let's go this way. Stay close. And I'm going to pull this guy over real quick. There we go.
I think he resisted you.
He did, but he is on me.
Got an ad.
Okay, it's okay. Just stay near me if you can. Keep heals on me. I got shield up. Let's focus down that one target. The target's dead. We'll switch over.
On me.
And knocking him down. Alright, good. Now this is a pretty dense area. That's a problem. Let me see. Let me try to pull this guy one at a time here.
Hold on. Let me get people
Get
topped off
close
here.
if you can to me. Alright, here we go. Okay, knock him. Nice. Focus him down. Activate the grip. Nicely done, nicely done. Let's grab this guy right here. Get some aggro back from him. Nice. I love the effects on these guys, and the animation did a great job as well. Alright, let's move up over to this rock area. I need to sit real quick, if we can sit before the respawn occurs. Just grab some
Yeah, this
mana
line
back.
of sight.
It's a beautiful zone.
Serene.
I know. I couldn't even
Hear
imagine.
the sound of the birds.
There's so many ghosts and shades in this area. It's kind of sad. Now, I believe in this particular Oakenbane Keep area, there used to be these old, magnificent kind of essence-ridden trees, but they were all harvested to produce kind of magical artifacty items, and now only one remains, which Lord Oakenbane himself guards. All right, I think I'm good. Let me grab this guy here. I'm just gonna body pull him. Come on, buddy. There we go. Okay. You guys finish him off. I'm gonna grab the next one. Okay, we've got the boss as well. I'm going to activate my grit. Try to focus the little dude first. Alright, I'm going to try to knock the boss down. I'm going to put up a shield just in case you need it. Oh, I
Cool
went
downs.
down. I went down. I'm coming back up. Knock him down now. Trying to drop some aggro. get him off. Nice, good job. Keep it up. Almost. Boom!
Not bad. Only one death.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. We got a tower shield now. I need that, of course, as the tank.
You get all the loot this run.
Yay! It is the tank showcase.
It's a tank run.
All right, let me put on this glorious tower shield, and let me compare it. Actually, if we, I can't compare it. Ooh, there we go. I'm loving it. That is a true tower shield. Now, I'm of course to having like a medium-sized tower shield as a dwarf in most tabletop RPGs that I play, so that I just have complete cover against my enemies. But this isn't bad either. I like it. It's very, very polished. The metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it fits with the armor from this area.
Yeah. It does. Now we have how many more bosses are after this? We have a couple. We have a leggings and a chest piece. Now we really in that live stream did not perform well against the main boss dude. But again, this is an area intended for 8 people with pots and other supplies that we don't necessarily have access to. I'm gonna knock him down into 1.
Yeah, like a lot of other classic inspired MMOs, like you can still do it with lower numbers. It's just gonna take a while. You gotta be more careful.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about kind of, our decisions around allowing kind of content to get experienced by lower level players. What type of safeguards do we put from, power leveling or twinking? Obviously, we adjust experience based on level differential between the target enemy and the group. How do we kind of do that? Obviously, we take the difference in the party max level and the party's lowest level, and those things can indicate the modifier that is applied to incoming experience based on the number of participants within that party, and those help safeguard those things, which we're all accustomed to. Oh, God.
Yeah. And in addition to that, we also have experience bonus for grouping up. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's higher and higher the more people you have in your group to really encourage those full groups.
Yes. And obviously the way that we kind of design the encounter for these types of areas is that certain monsters will have certain types of strengths and weaknesses. Those, of course, will correlate to certain types of class kits. So some areas might be more beneficial for you to kind of XP in versus others. And a big role in that non-solo gameplay, of course, is going to be group composition, right?
Yeah, that's one thing I really love about our diverse class kits that we have available to us in Ashes is the diverse content that comes along with that, right? Like for an optimal group for one area might involve, 3 or 4 ranged DPS, but another area you might want to stack fighters for all their CC that they can bring. So different groups for different areas.
Easy. How far? Oh, we have to go just up this way, right?
Mm-hmm. Just up here and around the hill. He's on some ruins in the back.
Come on over here, buddy. Come on. Come on.
Hey, Tread, can you change the loot rules to drop the rarity from what it's set right now, like 1 level? So that greens are rollable?
Oh, good call. Good call.
Where do I do that?
Options, party settings.
Hold up, Steven.
All right. Okay. Stand by. Tank
All
is
right, so
standing by.
I'm saying what? Need or greet?
Yeah.
So, all right, I have common and uncommon, need or greet.
Look at
Yep.
this party. So powerful, so strong, so diverse. Oh, voting change, huh? What do we got here? I will accept that.
Except.
All right, let's see here.
I really love that system, by the way. The voting to accept loot change rules.
Oh, you don't like the Ninja Party loot change?
You have to trust your group leader.
I know. You mean reputation, right? Like, hey, I was in this group and a ninja changed a loot right before the boss go. That guy's on
Yeah.
our KOS list.
It creates conflict. It's a good thing.
Soft friction.
There we go.
It'd be funny whenever they try to do that in our game and then the vote window pops up.
I know. I
like,
love
oh,
the
whoops.
lightning attack on this guy.
Oh, whoops, guys! I accidentally like went into my settings and changed some very deep stuff. Whoops.
Oh no.
Whoops, totally an accident.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue, and it just happened before this legendary drop. I don't know how that was possible. We call those ninja looters.
I don't know. This kind of impacts on my ranger fantasy.
Really? Aren't you all about like nature and being one? With...
Oh yeah, but also loot.
Oh, but also loot. I think that's the road. Definitely rangers. I feel like rangers and rogues sometimes are the same people.
Just a ranged rogue.
Pretty much.
No, to me, sometimes the ranger is always the first that's like, huh, this engagement isn't looking so hot. Let me use the advantage I already have from a distance to kind of leave here. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna grab this guy.
Like he's about to do now.
Yeah.
No.
exactly.
This isn't a dangerous situation. Look, it's survival of the furthest.
Nice.
Nice. I like that. Survival of the furthest. Alright. Let's go kill this guy over here first. I think he has the leggings, yeah? Let me grab this guy. Get over here.
I do like the old school feel of carefully navigating through the space,
Oh, absolutely.
trying not to pull too many things at once.
Oh yeah, I'm not about that lawnmower combat at all.
Yeah,
I mean-
Jeremy, Doug, and their teams did a really good job on the encounters here.
Yeah, that can be a problem when you move into an area and it's just like overwhelmingly dense. And sometimes those areas you like are happy if there's other parties that are nearby, and you're like, okay, cool, you're keeping the spawn rate down for me a little bit. Oh, we got somebody. Oh God! Let me see if I can actively block that. Boom! What's up,
Yep.
buddy? What's up? Come on,
Nice.
let's go again.
Skills.
I'm just gonna let you take that one. I need some mana.
I want to get him to shoot me again. Boom!
I'd like to explore like a
Boom!
perfect block thing where if you time it perfectly, you get an additional bonus. or
Oh,
something.
that would be great. Like a kind of almost Gears of War where you have that active reload.
The engineer in me is now crying.
We'll have to be a little forgiving for it, but like I've been playing Valheim lately, and it's really fun to do their perfect block.
Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that block and it's just so good with the sound effects that are associated that Cat did on that bolt. Oh, it feels so good. Okay, looks like we're grabbing two. Let me
got
get
it.
aggro on the boss first. I'm gonna need some heals. Let me
We'll focus
activate
the ad.
my. Yeah, you guys focus. I'm just
Probably
gonna
want to
build
drop
up.
the ad,
I'm just gonna build up hate here on the boss. You guys focus down that ad.
yeah. Try and keep you both up.
I should be good. I have my grit active and I have my active block. You just keep Keenan alive. He looks like he's taking some damage.
Working on it. He's almost down.
How dare you? How dare this guy?
Group heal coming up.
How dare him? The Arborist Historia.
Ooh,
That was avoidable.
Knocked him.
Whoops.
Let me pull him over here a little bit. Come on over, buddy. Come on. Come to me.
group heal coming up again.
Pulling him. Knocking him. There we go. Let's go. Easy. Nice. What has he got? Titan bark leggings? Sweet. We're almost there. I need that, of course.
Need.
I need. All right. We handled that guy with ease. Maybe we'll be okay with the Lord Oakenbane.
I think if we just, clear carefully, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep on clearing. I'm gonna pull the left side first. Stand by. Oh,
I would
man.
pull them like back over here because we'll have mobs on both sides of you.
Dude, yeah, let's go over here actually. Let's go to the right. Oh man, I don't know if I can. I think they're socially aggro.
Yeah, that Wanderer's Nest.
I
You
just
want me to
am
try to pull?
hoping, no, I'm just hoping I'm not gonna.
I would do it now because the other one's patrolling away.
There we go. Okay. Oh god, we
Oh,
got 3.
yep,
Okay, just
3.
stand behind me. Let me build it up. Don't go yet. Hold on. All right, you guys can go now. Focus one target. Putting a shield up.
I don't think we want to stand in that because then we just get hit by cleaves.
Knocking. Oh god. Yeah, don't stand in that.
One on me.
Drag,
one on
keep
me.
yourself up. I'm okay for a little bit. Okay, Dread's almost down. Okay, good.
I'm down.
All right. Just get yourself back up. Get up. There we go.
There's another one near you.
Yeah, don't back up any further. Come
Yeah,
back
come
this way.
forward. Come forward.
Almost.
Yeah.
All right, we got him.
As a rep.
We did
Yeah,
it.
3 of those guys is tough.
That's a lot for a party of 4.
Add.
I don't know. I
Okay,
lived.
we got one ad.
2 in the
Two.
back.
Did you hear that? Of course the ranger would say that.
I'm still alive. I'm gonna focus the echo.
Now, we've talked about this in the past, but the active blocking might be an ability that it's of course it's universal, but it might be consuming mana, and you'll be able to adjust that mana consumption based off of your passive spec into your skill trees. In addition, it might also consume stamina. That's something we're going to be testing as part of Alpha 2. Sorry, but sometimes when I talk, I don't perform. Good. All right, let's move up.
Should we go up to the left?
Yeah, let's go up to this echo at the top.
Yeah, let's take this guy.
I'm gonna have to get some mana after this. Nice. All right. Maybe we can just sit right here for a second. Just looking down. Oh, there's the tree. The tree in all its glory. It's beautiful. I think Scott Allen did that. Nice little area.
I wonder what kind of wood it gives.
That's a good question. I feel
Only
like-
one left, and you want to chop it down.
I feel like I'm having. Are we having an earthquake? Like my table's moving. No, I think we're good.
Time to
Okay.
get some sleep, Steven.
I know, right? Oh my god.
It's time for all of us to get some sleep.
I know. All right, I'm gonna pull this guy up here. Stand by. Okay, we're doing good there. You guys keep focusing him. I'm gonna grab this next dude. sit down. All right, we're making
Very
good progress.
dangerously close to a resident on the left.
All right. I think he's moving away, so we're good. This is perfect. All right, so after that guy,
I think we should clear all 3 of these, to be honest.
yeah.
Watch the angle on the pull. Don't want to pull in front of Oakenbane.
He does a big AoE, so we're gonna have to spread out, and then we're gonna aggro if we do that.
Okay,
We have one behind us, too,
right
that we
here.
could
Stand
have it
right
achieve.
here on me in this position. Don't deviate from this one. Hold here. And then let me see if I can grab this echo first. And if I can. There we go. Oh god,
Yeah,
we got the boss.
body
Okay,
pull.
I'm gonna grab the
Kill the
boss. You guys
echo.
kill the echo.
Take the boss back to his room.
Okay, stand by.
Good idea.
Don't attack that boss. Alright, good. Oh god, it hurts. It hurts. Alright, I got the boss on the ground. Keep keening up. Oh god.
Ryan,
I'm holding the boss
I can't-
down.
can't keep up with that.
Okay, I'm good. Ignore me now.
Oh man.
Oh, so close. I'm gonna knock him down. Alright, good. We're good.
Dropping at chains.
Nice. Oh, thank God for this active block. Knocking him. Alright, holding aggro. I'm gonna pull him inside of his mausoleum where he should be laid to rest appropriately. Come here. Follow me into your final resting place, Lord Oakenbane.
Ooh. He didn't like that.
Oh, he's going to sleep. Shh, just go to sleep. Go to sleep. Do it.
Rest
It's
now.
happening. I commit you to the ground, Lord Oakenbane. Well done, ladies and
That's a
gentlemen.
good fight.
That was good. I'm grabbing my need on the Titan Bark chest plate. And then now it is time to reveal the glory of our pursuits. I am going to equip said things. Oh, it looks so good.
Oh yeah.
It looks so glorious.
Jelly.
So
How's our art
good.
team so good?
I know. The art team is unbelievable. I mean, really. They're just so good. Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief demonstration of our Alpha 2 preview for the tank archetype. Of course, as we said, this is all a work in progress. There are many things that will change. Testing is very important. Your feedback is incredibly important. Please make sure that you leave all commentary possible within the YouTube video, on our forums, on our Reddit, on Twitter, everywhere possible. We always take that stuff very seriously, and we iterate upon it, as you've seen between November's live stream and this month's live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Keenan, Trad, Brian, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
Cheers.
See you, everyone.
Cheers.
Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed that. We will have some of that video playing in the background. I know that there's a lot of questions. I tried to grab some of them as best I could. But of course, we won't get to everything today. But you know, if you have any other questions for us, or if you have thoughts, which I see a lot of thoughts from y'all, we have a couple threads up one regarding tanking and one regarding like UI and looting. So if you have thoughts on those things, definitely go give us a feedback over on our forums, forums.ashesofcreation.com. We super duper appreciate. We put a lot of reports together for our developers, and then we present those and we discuss them. And a lot of the times we're all on the same page. We're already thinking those things. So I'm going to go through some
Yes.
of the things that you guys had questions about here, which is first and foremost, there were a lot of concerns about threat. A lot of people didn't understand how holding threat works because you were holding threat at some
I
points.
know. Well,
Um,
it's important. It's important to remember
yeah.
that these previews are done at a very low level, right? So these are low level skills and abilities that the archetypes have available to them, and so because of that, some of the functionality from these abilities they don't necessarily perform as well as you would want them to in a later stage of the game for that role. Excuse me. Now, also keep in mind that balance is a perspective that needs to be incorporated also. So threat is generated based off of a few factors. It's based off of damage done. It's based off of healing done. It's based off of threat generation modifiers that are on abilities. Now the tank in this situation, I believe, has two abilities that are going to generate additional threat. They have the slicing, the number 2 ability, and then they also have the shout ability. Both of those are creating additional threat. But with that being said, we need to tune probably those abilities up a little bit to contend with the DPS that's coming both from the ranger and with the heals that are coming out of the cleric.
All right. And the next questions here are in regards to blocking and dodging. Will all classes be able to have active blocking? And then also, can you active block without a shield? Because mostly we only saw you doing that when you got the shield afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So active block will not be as performant in mitigating the incoming damage with weapons that aren't using a shield. However, you will be able to active block with that currently as it stands in the design. And then the other question about active block was, I'm sorry.
It was
Any weapon.
the shield one, and the other one was, will all classes get active block? So it's like, can you active block without a shield? And then also,
So you can active block without a shield, and all classes can active block. It's a universal ability at the moment.
and then are there iframes in dodges when you're dodging?
We aren't using iframes for dodging. However, we are toying with the idea of a dodge increasing certain stats that are opposed checks, such as accuracy versus evasion, and potentially boosting mitigation depending on how the player might spec into certain passives that augment their dodge ability.
And then there were a lot of questions regarding UI stuff, but I'll start with the performance thing, which was people were saying that it was really cool seeing the grass get knocked down and stuff like that. But people are worried about like GPU drain, and they were curious if they'll be able to toggle that off.
Yeah, so there's a lot of bells and whistles that are intended on the client rendering side for these types of features that players will have the ability to scale up or down or off from a
Okay.
performance perspective.
And then, I think people are wondering if this video is with UE 5.1, because we've been talking about the fact that we are going to be swapping over to that.
Right. No, our 5.1 is not scheduled to be complete until probably another week or two. We're moving over to that.
Cool. And then we have UI stuff, which is, will there be an auto loot option? A lot of people saw that you were manually looting things and they were curious if there would be an auto loot, or they could have some kind of pet that would auto loot for them.
No, not a pet that can auto loot. However, we are toying with the idea on the interact of double tapping or some other type of keystroke input that would not require you to interact with the loot container itself, but would just grab everything off of it. Especially if there's multiple loot piles within a proximity radius. It would have to be very close proximity radius. You could double tap to interact with all those and pull them in.
And then there were a lot of thoughts on the nameplates and how it's kind of hard to tell mobs versus your party because everything was like red. I know their nameplates aren't complete yet, but I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the direction of where that's headed.
Yeah, so nameplates really actually require a big refactor on our end that we haven't done yet. However, that is something that tech art and engineering, as well as our UX UI team, are going to be doing over the course of probably the next month to month and a half. It's a big refactor, both from performance reasons, how we're going to be able to occlude those nameplates with in-world obstacles in line of sight, as well as prioritizing and clamping their sizes and distances that need a bit of a refactor, and of course their visual appearance. So that's work that's still outstanding.
And I think that kind of ties in line with being able to tell like whether an enemy is an elite or not, and also just kind of
Correct.
different
Yes.
types of mobs.
Yeah,
And
that's
of
general
course, yeah, go
UX
ahead.
treatment of the nameplates. That's going to include, which has already begun a little bit, but is going to include, as you said, those indicators like resistances, buffs that are present, whether they're elite or not. They'll have probably a star format to indicate that with their hit point allocation. There's a lot of treatments from a UX perspective that needs to be included in the artwork.
Is their power level over 9,000? That's the question.
Right.
And then, of course, we have will bosses look different than regular mobs, or is this kind of just a placeholder to show that, hey, the boss in this area is a little bigger than the other ones, but they kind of look similar?
Oh, yeah. So it kind of depends on the types of bosses we're talking about, right? We have
Mhm.
regional, we have hunting ground, we have elites, we have mini bosses, we have dungeon bosses, we have raid bosses. There's a lot of different types of creature types. And these in particular are more really elite spawns for this location. They're not really probably considered bosses because they can be handled by a single party. But the rare spawns obviously have a longer respawn time. And so sometimes you'll see that they're scaled up from a size perspective, but most of the time you're going to see, if it's a named mob, that it's going to have a unique character appearance.
And then will there be range indicators for abilities? So for instance, like if I have ability that can be used within X amount of meters, can I kind of see that as I'm using it versus, just hitting it and then seeing that it does it?
You mean from like
Like if I have a grapple that has like a range
oh,
of
perfect.
60 meters, right? Can I see that
Yes.
distance
So
a
it
little bit more
depends.
obvious?
It depends. If it's a targeted ability, the indicator when targeting will tell you grayed out or not that the ability can be used based on distance. If it is a templated ability, which means it's a kind of skill based use, you'll need to get a feel for those distances. And that's kind of, some skill based learning where you get an idea for what those distances are. Some of those will have template indicators, but they'll be very in world and immersive. We're not utilizing more UI centric looking indicators, but generally the AoE templates are meant to be kind of skill based.
And then when it comes to tanking, will it be primarily the tank archetypes that will be able to tank, or can other people tank?
No, I mean, other people can tank. It really depends on the setting, right? If we're talking like high-end raiding or dungeoneering and playing in these areas that require a main tank, that role and responsibility lies to the tank archetype. Now, tank archetypes can obviously take secondary archetype selections, and they can hybridize across different roles. That'll give them a bit of horizontal utility or horizontal progression to the augment system. And the best tanks are going to be the tanks that double down in that role. But the game here is agency, player agency, and providing that kind of unique
People want to
build
use a wand and a
options.
shield, Stephen.
Right. Well, I don't know
You
about a
can.
wand and a shield. But yeah, no, it's something that is intending to allow players have agency over that.
And for those of you wanting to hear more about augments and stuff, we will be talking more about that in the future, so stay tuned. And then also people are wondering about, how are you designing encounters around active blocking? Will it be situational use, or would I expect to be laying on my block keybind for most of the fight to prevent getting deleted by bosses? Kind of like they're wondering if the gameplay,
Yeah.
because obviously seeing the gameplay right now, it's in its core loop, which is a little bit
Right.
more simplistic.
Absolutely.
It.
Yeah, it depends really on the type of adversary you're facing. Some of them are going to have indicators or tells that a big attack is coming. It's an animation wind up where you'll have an opportunity to use active block in very unique situations that are based on timing, and mitigate additional mitigation for those incoming one-off attacks. In other occasions, you'll be able to use it off of rotational cooldowns, or if you're waiting for a particular ability, or your during the use of your Aegis, right? There's different situations for when active block is a relevant use case.
Yeah. And of course, we are still in development. There's many things that will be changing along the way. So if you follow the journey, and if you've been following us so far, you've probably seen some very strides in what we've done, especially from Alpha 1 to moving towards our Alpha 2. But I think I'm going to wrap up the questions here. I know there are some forum questions that we'll do in the Q&A section. I just wanted to grab a few that I noticed were pretty vocal in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were a lot of comments about Steven's gameplay. But
So I do want to comment on that real quick, though. Just so you guys are aware, I do take a certain persona when kind of showcasing this, because again, it is intended for an audience that's not core per se, but is, sometimes might be tuning in for the first time and seeing what the development of the game is all about. And, it's much more fun to be kind of a participant in that exploration rather than a recipient of knowledge and information if you're seeing it for the first time. So there's a bit of duality in kind of that streamer-esque persona. However, with that being said, what I want to do with this particular video is I want to upload a 4K version of it after the stream, but I'm going to re-record it because of the audio issues that we had. And I'm going to be a bit more descriptive and definitive in the demonstration so that we can try that and see how that feels.
Okay.
But I would say that that'll take probably a couple of hours or so. Yeah.
All right. And we'll use some of our other equipment that we have now, which is exciting. So with that, we're going to head on over to look at character goodies. Always love the character art updates. So first and foremost, we have some really neat Cyclops goodies, which if you've been following along with us, you've probably seen that we are going to be showcasing some Cyclops action. And we've shown a little bit of the Cyclops over the months, if you've kind of go back and look. But now we're showing you the weapons that are getting 3D modeled, which looks very cool. There's a variety of Cyclopses. Cyclopsi? Cyclopsy? What's the Cyclopses? It's the plural.
Cyclopi.
But we have some really cool looking.
Yeah, those look great. Who modeled these?
These ones were modeled by a variety. So the spear is Chris, and then Manny did the staff, the mace, and the short bow.
Love it. Looks great.
I wrote them down this time so I don't forget. I was like, Steven's going to ask, and I need to have the answer. Next up, we have the tank and hammer that you saw. Or the tank and hammer. The sword and hammer that you saw.
The tank and
Steven
hammer.
playing with the tank. Wow. In all their glory. Quite beautiful. And then I got a little teaser for you.
Ooh.
Teasing something that's coming up. But this is called, it's like our shield, our Carfin shield. That's not the full name of it, but that might tease a little bit of what might be coming.
Carfin.
Carfin. Mm-hmm. And Danny worked on this one.
Looks great.
Looks very good. And then we've got, you guys have seen the Najash being worked on quite a bit. But this one is the Enforcer model. Looking pretty cool. And then we actually have the 3D turntable for the Shaman, which I believe we showed the Shaman model in work in progress previously. But now you're seeing
Love it.
the 3D one. It's sick.
Some snake people.
And then you also see their staff, which is awesome. I can't wait to see the animations for these.
Oh yeah.
I loved seeing the animated armor today with like their lightning zap thing. That ability looks so cool. And then we've got the Boulderstone Bulldog, which Jinsey worked on.
I love his little face.
I know. He's like a ram and a doggo had a baby.
Yeah.
And he's a mount.
He's a bull goat.
And bull goat.
Bull ram.
Very cool. And then we've got the Oak Stout.
I can't wait
Your,
to see the animations.
I know, they're going to be awesome. It's utterly adorable. And then, I know, I'm the worst. And then we've got our Risen Guardian, which is just disgustingly awesome.
That's nasty.
Nasty. This is the mount that you want to ride into battle to scare your enemies.
Oh yeah. It probably has just an aura of rotting flesh. You need to make some will saves or fortitude saves when you get near
Imagine the stench.
it.
This is where we need like smell-o-vision. I'm just kidding. And then we have some new stuff for you for Vec hairstyles. So brace yourselves. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to start with the Vec. This is a short hairstyle, a little knobbin.
Love it.
So good.
I like the second ponytail that's going forward.
And then we've got
The reverse ponytail.
the mohawk plus some beard action.
Nice. Did we grab some reference images from Ri-Fi?
I don't have some reference images, but Ri-Fi does have a sick mohawk.
I
He's one of our
know.
producers. And then we've got the long beard, which kind of reminds me of Zach's beard a little
Zach, yeah. I was about to say.
bit, but like more scruffy. And then, we got to rep. We got to have the ladies. So we have a short hairstyle for our Vec ladies. We will have many, many, many hairstyles, homies. So do not fret. These are just
Love
a
it.
few we're showing for the Vec. And I think this next one's my favorite, but it's the long pony for the Vec.
Oh yeah, that one's
I can
cool.
cosplay this one.
I can't wait to see the physics sim on that.
Oh yeah, people are gonna be like, that better not be going into my clothing. Good luck with that, animators.
Ah,
And that is the wonderful character art update. And always, they do so many amazing things. We can't show everything. We'd be here all day. But we do like to take bits and pieces that are really cool. And we do want to keep some things as surprises. So with that, we're going to swap over and do a little Q&A from the forums. If you submitted your questions, thank you so much. We super duper appreciate it. Actually, Stephen, do you want to do like a quick studio update before we do Q&A?
Yeah, no, January has been an awesome month so far. Like I said, we started off pretty quick. We have, excuse me, we have some pretty ambitious hiring goals for this year. And I think you guys last year in the community have helped us spread awareness for the studio and for the project on all the socials. And of course, we've seen, as most of you are aware, some turbulent times in the tech industry in general, as well as across the games industry specifically. Intrepid Studios is hiring. We can be a resource for those individuals who have been impacted by those recent layoffs, and our heart goes out, of course, to all of them. If you know anyone who's been impacted, direct them to intrepidstudios.com, where we have all of our current jobs postings listed, and make sure that they know there's going to be updates coming over the course of the next 30 to 60 days for additional positions that'll be listed as well. And of course, if you don't see a position listed there, or you know of someone who you think would be a great fit for the team and the project, you can direct them to just send in their resume, even without a position listed. So that's going to be good. And then in addition, there's a lot of feedback that we need and that we share with you guys, especially in these updates. And the community team does a great job at collecting that feedback. So make sure that you guys are posting and giving us all your thoughts, because that stuff is very important, especially as we get into this year specifically, where we have a lot of things planned.
A lot of things.
A lot of things. So yeah.
A lot of things are happening. With that, we will go to our Q&A. I was looking through my run of show and I was scrolling down. I already hit the button on the overlay and I was like, oh no. But with that, we will chat a little bit about the Q&A. So the first question here from our lovely forum folks is from Cymex. We have a few that are actually tank related. So thanks guys. You kept everything a little bit on topic, and then we have some that are not. So we'll start with the tank ones since we got it on our mind right now. The first one is about damage mitigation. Should a skilled tank be able to prevent all damage to their party, or should there be situations that no matter what your skill, the party will take some damage?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few ways that gets accomplished, both from an ability creation perspective with regards to the class kits and what they're capable of doing, but also in the encounter design and how we want to structure the AI and behavior tree of our monsters, not to be very simplistic in their engagement. So that is important. It's cool to, as a tank, have some control over the encounter, but it's also not cool if the control creates an entirely predictive gameplay loop. So, with that being said, excuse me, we want to introduce that element of chaos because that makes things kind of fun and reactive. And reactive gameplay is skill-based gameplay, and that's a good thing to have.
All right. And the next question is from Immortality. This is about general tank play. Will tanks have some form of stances to swap between that increases damage dealt at the cost of defenses?
Yes, so those are some hybridization options that should be available as part of the class kit. They can be further expanded upon with access to augment systems and depending on your secondary class choice. But again, the idea here is player agency. So we don't prescribe what that class fantasy or class role is. There's a lot of directions that players can take as part of that agency. And that comes down to how they compose their skill trees.
All right. And then we've got damage and aggro from Super Waffle Fry. I like that name. And it's making me hungry. Tanks need to do two things: mitigate damage and hold aggro. How will tank weapons, shields, and armor balance these two dynamics compared to other gear sets?
Well, I think it does so in a few ways. I mean, obviously, stat composition and your itemization choices are important, making sure you're driving up your constitution-based stat allocation through selection of certain set bonuses and or stat modifiers. But in addition, a big portion of that is not just through itemization, but also through your skill tree selections. And they don't have to be diametrically opposed. The ability to kind of garner additional threat is predicated on your rotational selection and how you are leveraging certain types of set bonuses that are catered towards that role specifically. So some set bonuses will have specific, very targeted benefits like additional threat generation. But in addition, if you're going to mitigate damage, you need to make sure you're focusing on your health pool. How much health pool do you have available to you? What type of damage are you mitigating? Because we have different types of damage mitigation from magic to physical. And that's predicated on who your opponent is, where your adversary lives. Both of those are viable strategies.
All right. And then we have Orbificator, and they want to know about being unkillable. Will I be able to fulfill my fantasy of having a ridiculously large health pool at the cost of other attributes?
You will have significant agency over the allocation of your stat progression. Yes, some of that will be baked in based on the archetype selection, but a large portion of that will come down to your itemization selection, your selection of tattoos and other ancillary types of augments and or benefits you can apply to specific items such as socketing. But generally, if you want to make a very con heavy HP focused tank, you can do that.
All right. The next one is PvP gameplay. And this one's from Nice Gaming, but not spelled like nice. What steps are being taken or considered to make the tank archetype viable in PvP engagements?
Well, there is a whole host of things that are taken. It's important to note that in a lot of MMOs that probably many of us have played, PvP can feel like a slapped on design consideration. And our approach is very holistic in the sense that we take into account the fact this is a PvX game. So when we're designing the class kits, we are making sure that mechanics and designs are targeting applicability both in PvE settings as well as PvP settings. That's very important. There are also special mechanics like how threat is used in PvP, how taunts are used in PvP. Those things I think require testing, but we have some ideas that will make them relevant so that you don't have abilities that have no relevancy in PvE or PvP, but have some cross application.
All right. And then we've got the off tanking, and this is from Sego. And they want to know, how will off tanks remain useful in raids or dungeons when they don't need to tank for a specific fight?
There's a few cases in which off tanks, of course, are relevant. I mean, when you're fighting in a dungeon, you have the occasional adds that come in, where the primary tank might be focused on keeping your groups, your party's target aggroed, and the off tank has the ability to kind of hold aggro on adds until the main tank is finished with their target. In addition, you have certain types of abilities like taunts that are immediate redirects on threat without having to acquire or accrue the appropriate threat to hold that aggro, that can utilize those taunts situationally based off of the threats that are appearing to the party. There's a lot of, I mean, there's a broad scope of applicability that applies to these types of roles like off tank, that I think are relevant and part of our overall kit designs.
And this next question is one I feel like many people internally have also talked about, which is Mayo. It's from Mayo Sotis, and they want to know about the name. Have you considered renaming the tank archetype?
Yes, we have considered it. There are a few thoughts on that. The tank is a clear communicator. The tank name is a clear indicator kind of the role that is more common in our average MMO vernacular, right? Now, from a role play perspective, there are questions about keeping that name in world, in lore, so to speak, and not necessarily adopting the vernacular that the community has adopted. I think those are valid concerns, and it's something I'm not diametrically opposed to reconsidering, but I would say an update on that is not coming in the immediate future.
All right. And then we're moving away from tank stuff. So it's gone. Barab wants to know about naval mechanics. Will there be a mechanic on ships that allow players to hire or install NPCs to control sails or fire cannons?
No, we don't have the concept of including the mercenary or additive NPC solution or as a mechanic on naval ships. They are elsewhere within the game, but not intended for naval ships.
And then Azare wants to know about siege summons. Will there be level restrictions on who can participate in the activation of these abilities, other than for the group leader?
For summons during sieges,
Siege summons.
are we talking about summoners? Or are we talking about siege weapons like vehicles?
Will there be level restrictions on who can participate in the activation of these abilities?
So if we're talking about vehicles and siege weaponry, that's agnostic of class kits. Those will be predicated on individuals who have the items within their inventory in order to summon them, and who are registered as part of, in the castle scenario, a registered guild, or in the node scenario, an attacker, a valid attacker. With regards to the summoner class and abilities that exist within class kits, those types of summons will require that the summoner is an active participant in the siege or in the node siege, castle siege or node siege, in order to utilize that ability. And then if we're talking about the group summons, then the group summons would be utilized solely by the party leader. So that's an activation that occurs from the party leader. The party leader has to satisfy having that ability as part of their class kit, and then having the necessary additive components from other classes that part of their group.
All right. And then Jamie Chaos wants to know about raid bosses. It was stated that raid bosses would change difficulty based on how fast a group was clearing them. If the raids are supposed to be open and not instance, how does this work, or do rooms lock once a boss is pulled? And this was something you had
Well,
stated a long time ago.
yep. Yeah, so raid bosses are aware of the number of combatants within an area in proximity to them. And that awareness is part of an indicator to which behaviors they're going to utilize as part of their behavior tree. So as it's assessing the types of combatants that are facing it, the number of those combatants, the position of those combatants, the abilities and life totals of those combatants, it weighs certain actions in its behavior tree, and then it acts on those actions. And in the scenario where you're bringing overwhelming odds to a particular fight, that might weigh heavier the AoE options that the boss has access to where they're utilizing a lot more AoE abilities during an engagement due to that overage of players. So in that sense, it's a bit adaptive. It's a bit dynamic based on the encounter scenario.
And you haven't really seen our full AI encounters yet. We're very much in our core loop state as we're showing this showcase. So for people being like, we
Yeah.
don't see that right now, it's because it's not. We're not showing that quite yet. And then Serena Venport wants to know about player housing, and this is our final question from the forums today. What limitation will we have with placing items we find in the world as decorations in our houses?
There is a few limitations. Some of those limitations are specific to the type of housing that you own. Some of those limitations are at the recipe and workbench construction point as well. Like you need to have the necessary components to make those things. Placing them, there is an allotment quota that's based on the type of housing, and there is a grade restriction based on the type of housing. So if you have a mansion in node housing, you can place the best furniture, right? And furniture has mechanical components to it, right? Game mechanics associated with them. They're not just visual or cosmetic. In addition, there might be limitations around how many of a particular type of furniture piece or decor item you can place inside of a property. So you might only be able to place one of a certain type. So there's a few rules around that.
All right, and that's it. We wrapped it up. For those of
Wow,
you
we
who
did
are
it.
watching this on YouTube, we've probably made some edits because we're going to re-record the gameplay section to showcase that a little bit better. And for those of you who are watching us watching this live with us, thank you for joining us and giving us a lot of feedback. We appreciate that. And of course, as always, head on over to our forums.ashesofcreation.com. Give us feedback. We have Tank thread up there as well as a looting UI thread up there. So if you have thoughts, get them over to us. We always love seeing those. And as Stephen mentioned before, we do make reports on these and we send them to the development team. And sometimes we have meetings regarding these. And it really helps us ensure that we're always on the same page. And usually a lot of the feedback that you guys have is stuff that we're already like, yeah, we want to move forward in that direction anyway, or we're already working towards that,
Absolutely.
which is nice.
Good validator. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It validates that we're on the right track. And of course, we would love for you to check out our Featherstone Royal Expeditions cosmetics. They will be swapping over February 8th, 2023 at 11 a.m. So if you want those, grab them. And of course, thank you very much, viewers, for joining us. And of course, to our lovely developers, Keenan, Trad, Brian, and Steven for showcasing our tank. And we hope that you all stay safe and healthy. We'll have a 4K video up on YouTube. We'll have the whole development video up on YouTube as well. One will come today and the other one will go tomorrow. And then, of course, on the development update video, if you leave us a comment and you subscribe, your comment could possibly be the lucky winner that will be showcased on our next development update next month. So please follow us in all the places at Ashes of Creation. And we'll see you guys all next month. Any last words, Stephen?
No, just thank you guys. Make sure to give us your feedback. We appreciate it as always. And of course, we endeavor to present you guys with the most amazing MMORPG possible. And our goal has always been to make you proud. So keep us informed on your feedback and give us all the thoughts. And we
Yeah,
will see you
we
soon.
love seeing all your thoughts. So
Yay.
we'll see y'all next month.
Bye, everyone.